Hello, everyone. I'm Bart Gregory, joined by Mike Ritchie, the Senior Associate Athletic Director, Executive Director of the Bulldog Club, and we're here to talk about postseason football tickets, bowl tickets. And Mike, I think everyone is going to get this season ticket application. All Bulldog Club members are looking at getting that in the mail sometime soon.
That's correct. We'll post information starting today online about how to get your requests in for postseason football. And then we'll also be mailing a postseason request form to all active Bulldog Club members, and that'll go out first of next week with the deadline of November 21st to submit your request for postseason tickets.
Okay, I'm going to play the part of the guy who's buying bowl tickets for the first time ever, just to go through and try to figure out what's best for me, the process you guys go through, that we go through here in the Bulldog Club. First and foremost, why do you do this pre-order?
Well, the pre-order process really helps us because you're talking about a really short window of time between the last regular season game and the potential postseason options. And right now there are so many different scenarios that could play out with the football postseason that you could look at anywhere between just one bowl game or 3 games in a period of 5 weeks. So there's really a narrow window of time for us to work in to get these tickets assigned and shipped to everybody. So the sooner we can get that information in everybody's hands and the sooner we can know what the demand is going to look like, then the easier it will be for us to get those tickets allocated. And to let people know when we have exhausted our allotment is important too, because some people will want to have a different avenue to get tickets, and that's important for us to give that information as quickly as possible.
Why do you have such an early deadline? And November the 21st, I know, is a deadline to get any dollar figure in to be accounted toward your points. Also the deadline for tickets?
That's correct, yes. Anybody that's in the Bulldog Club can make an adjustment to their current pledge or make a year-end gift for tax purposes, and that will be factored into the ranks that we use to assign bowl game tickets. And that deadline may seem early, but it's really the Friday before the Vanderbilt game, which is a little over a week before the last regular season game. So again, that short window of time between the regular season and the postseason, we need to have as many days in there as possible to get the tickets allocated and to let people know who we're going to be able to accommodate and who we're not going to be able to accommodate based on our allotment.
Okay, the first thing I think of is when I'm going through this order form and I see Cotton Bowl, Outback Bowl, Music City Bowl, and all these lists of bowls that Mississippi State could possibly go to. And I've been sitting with a friend of mine in the stands at Davis Wade for the past 25 years. And I want to sit with that same friend for a bowl game. Is that possible? Can that be possible during this process? Because I know it's a quick turnaround.
It is a quick turnaround, and we really don't have an opportunity to address all those different seating requests. After the reseating of the stadium this past year, most people who are sitting together now have ranks that are very close together. So we're going to assign seats in rank order. So I think a lot of those folks will end up sitting together just by virtue of having similar ranks. It's impossible for us to address those issues individually in such a short period of time. So what we're doing by including all of the potential postseason games on this form is we're encouraging everybody to consider every need that they would have based on whatever game we would end up going to, understanding that there are games on this form that there are very few scenarios that would actually play out that we would end up in these games. We want this process to work the same year after year. This is the same process we used when we pre-ordered in the past. And so we want you to look at every scenario and say, well, if we end up in this bowl, I need this many tickets, and if we end up in this game, I need this many tickets. And go ahead and fill out the form completely for every game, because we're only going to be concerned with the games that we actually end up going to. If you request tickets to a game that we don't go to, that request disappears. We don't even look at it. So there's no risk in going ahead and requesting tickets to a game that we likely will not end up in. And that process is going to remain the same for all future years. So it's just a way for us to establish a consistent process and to make sure everybody understands how it works year after year.
Okay, I'm looking at some bowls here that would be quite special to go to. And it starts at the top. You look at the Orange Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, Peach Bowl, Citrus Bowl, playoff scenario, national championship game, Rose Bowl, and those are so exciting for a Mississippi State person. And how many tickets can I get for those games? Is it a different allocation process per bowl, or is it all the way across the board? How many tickets can I max out at?
It's really different for each bowl, and so we're putting a max limit on requests, and it's going to be equal to the number of football season tickets that you have, up to a maximum of 12. And then anybody who has less than 4 football season tickets can request up to 4 postseason games. And we really feel like that over the course of the entire membership, that gives us the most opportunities to accommodate as many members as possible. And we know that the allotment for each game is different. So for example, If we end up with the opportunity to go to Atlanta for the championship game, we'll have about 16,000 tickets to work with. If we end up in the college football semifinals, we get 12,500 tickets. If we end up in the Citrus Bowl, we would have 9,000 tickets. And each of those games has a different allotment, and that allotment also includes the tickets that we'll need for the band and for the player guests and some for students. So the numbers that we have to work with are not the same as we've had in the past, and that's why we really felt like that a quantity limit was important so we could reach as many fans as possible.
So at what time, if I go through and I mark that if I want to go to the Outback Bowl, I want 4 tickets. If we go to the Rose Bowl, I want 6 tickets. When is that time frame of when I am going to be charged on my credit card for that?
You will be charged for those games as soon as we know for sure that we're going to those games. So if we were to find out that we were going to go to the Peach Bowl on the day after the SEC championship game, then we would go ahead and start processing those orders right then. If we are in a scenario where we're in the college football playoff and we have an opportunity to advance to that final game in Dallas, then anybody whose request is accommodated for the semifinal game would be automatically in for the next round should we advance, and their card would be processed immediately upon the completion of the semifinal game, similar to what we've done with NCAA basketball tournaments or College World Series or those type scenarios.
Mike, in years past, going to various bowls, when we've gone to the Music City Bowl or the Gator Bowl, you had a different price set at just a different price level. For those bowls. When we went to the Liberty Bowl last year, just about everybody had the same price level. Some of these bowls have 6, 7 price levels. Will you talk about the allocation process? How does that work? How do I end up with a $125 ticket, and how does my friend end up with a $65 ticket?
Well, the quantities vary at each price level as well. So we start at the highest price level available at your rank, and we just work our way down the list. So if we have a certain allotment of $175 tickets, and once we exhaust that allotment, and the next person in line in the ranks would get the next lowest price level. So we just work our way down that list, and you get the highest price available at your rank, and hopefully the best seat that would be available at your rank. The thing that's different about the bowl process this year is that our allotment quantity has decreased, but our seats have improved. And that's an arrangement that the league has helped us with the bowls, that they give us better tickets, but we get fewer of them. So a little bit different than it's been in the past, but in terms of how we allocate tickets, it'll be the same. We'll start at the highest price level and work our way down the list.
Okay, if I'm trying to figure out it, if I want to place an order, and you look at the limits and you see 9,000 for the Citrus Bowl, where do you figure, what are you looking at? If everybody buys the maximum, what rank are you looking at a cutoff?
We really feel like if we're in the football playoff scenario and everybody orders their maximum, we're going to get to somewhere around 1,500 or 1,600 in the ranks. That's a pretty significant assumption because it's pretty rare, based on what we've seen in the past, that every single person orders their max quantity. Of course, this is a different scenario than we've had in the past in terms of the success of the team and the options that are actually available to us. So if we end up in that scenario, we're thinking 1,500 to 1,600 in the ranks. If we end up in a scenario where we're in the Peach Bowl or the Cotton Bowl, then we think it's more likely to be around the 1,800 or 1,900 mark. And then in the Citrus Bowl, then we think we'll get a little bit deeper than that. So we know from the past that the demand for the tickets varies greatly based on the location of the game and the price of the ticket. And knowing that we're sitting here right now with 4 games to go, and the possibilities range from Miami to Pasadena, and from $65 to $650 in that final game in Dallas, there's such a wide range of possibilities that we just really wanted to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to make a request, because we really, until this plays out and until we see what the final request numbers look like for each game, we really don't know where that's going to be.
So if I'm ranked 3,000, 3,500, 4,000, you definitely don't want to discourage me from signing this and make sure I can get this in.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons we wanted every game on here, and that's one of the reasons we wanted this to go to every Bulldog Club member, is that there is an advantage to being a Bulldog Club member, and the advantage is that you get to go through this process, and we're going to accommodate as many as we possibly can based on the quantity in our allotment for each game.
So to recap real quick, this order form coming out very quickly, get that turned in, November the 21st, the deadline, and then you just kind of wait and see how it all plays out.
You kind of wait and see. The request process will be online. You'll be able to log into your account, and you'll be able to make your request for each game online. And then this form will come to you, and you'll need to mail it back to us. We're not going to do phone orders, and we're not going to accept fax orders over fax. And the reason that we do that is because there's so much less margin for error when we have a form that we can refer back to that the Bulldog Club member has actually filled out themselves, and it really is helpful, in particular during the holiday season, where we can make sure we have cell phone numbers and we can make sure we have email addresses and the right address to ship tickets to. People have different shipping addresses for postseason than they do for regular season. So it's really important that we get that form in writing, and that's why we are not going to take phone orders and we're not going to do fax orders. We've had problems with faxes in the past where we receive a fax that's blank and all it has is a timestamp at the top because the form's gone in upside down on somebody's fax machine, and we don't know even who to call to tell them that it came in upside down. So really a lot less margin for error when we take them by mail and online, and that's the way we're going to do it.
Okay, I've tried to think of every single question to possibly ask. And if you have any questions whatsoever about the Bulldog Club, call us, of course, 662-325-2600 is the ticket office, 3074 is the Bulldog Club office, 662-325-3074. Send us an email, tweet us, Hail State BDC, at Hail State BDC. So any way you have any questions whatsoever, please contact us. But that's just kind of a gist of what we're looking at. Hey, exciting time. At the end of the day, this is an exciting time. We're in uncharted territory, and so the opportunities are out there. It's a great time to be a Bulldog.
Great time to be a Bulldog. We can all get used to it. I know our Bulldog family out there can get used to it too.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for joining us.